Is it over?
Yeah.
Woo!
It's
Whoa.
over.
What the hell is going on in crypto right now, and what comes next? Because rate cuts are here, quantitative tightening is coming to an end, meaning quantitative easing is just about to begin. Trump and Xi had a successful meeting. America and China had a successful meeting. But meanwhile, Bitcoin continues to dump while alts bleed to new lows.
I'm tired, boss.
What the hell is going on here? So let me get this straight. No rate cuts, we see a dump. Rate cuts, we see a dump. Tariffs increase, we see a dump. Tariffs decrease, still dump. Good news, dump. No news, dump. Bad news, super dump. Do we really deserve such a bull run? Let me know in the comments below, why do you think this is all happening like this? I'm going to clue you in as to why this is all happening in just a minute, because what we're really trying to answer here is if BlackRock, Wall Street, Michael Saylor, the US government, other nation states, millionaires, billionaires, plus 235 companies are all buying Bitcoin, why is the price going down? And more importantly, thinking months and years down the line, what happens next? So number one, and get this through your head because a lot of people are expecting Bitcoin to top out in the next month or two, but the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is dead. The Bitcoin 4-year cycle, which was supposed to end at the end of 2025, which began in 2022, is dead. 15 billion Bitwise CIO explains the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is dead. This is how you should think about it.
4-year cycle? Is it over?
Yeah.
Woo!
It's
Whoa.
over.
Okay, hold on. Explain.
Well, I mean, so my view of the 4-year cycle is you have a catalyst that brings new pools of capital in. So 2011, it was the launch of Coinbase. Retail investors could buy Bitcoin, new capital, then leverage builds up and eventually it pops. 2015, the introduction of Ethereum. 2019, DeFi. 2023, it was Grayscale winning its lawsuit in March against the SEC. We're going to get ETFs bringing in capital. The reason I think it's probably not going to play out over 4 years is I think that's a longer inflow of capital than retail hot ball of money, which was the past 3. And then secondly, we have yet another of those catalysts in November, which is the election completely changing the game in terms of institutional adoption. So even if the ETF-driven cycle would have built up, leveraged, and popped and receded, we have this second tidal wave that's just so much bigger than that first one. It's gonna overwhelm it. So will there be, pullbacks? We're seeing one now as leverage comes out of the system, of course. But the election was such a sea change that it's like, it doesn't matter. Yes, there may be this natural thing, but it's just going to get bulldozed over. That doesn't mean we've repealed pullbacks, but I think this cycle is going to be much longer than people think. I definitely don't think this pullback is the end. I think 2025 will be a great year. I think 2026 will be a great year. I think 2027 will be a great year. And we'll see about 2028.
Let's take 30 seconds and thank sponsor of today's video, Blanksquare, making privacy native to Web3. Blanksquare is plug-and-play privacy infrastructure for wallets and apps composable, auditable, and battle-tested. They have a mobile app, web app, and SDK that anybody can use. If you want early access to the mobile app, get your email on this list to secure your spot. You'll receive a unique access code. You can be among the first to experience seamless on-chain privacy in crypto. Non-custodial crypto wallet with built-in privacy powered by cutting-edge ZK tech. I'm going to leave a link to all of this below. Check them out. So what's really going on behind the scenes in the cryptocurrency market? Because prices are way down, yes, but adoption seems to be way up. Just in MetaMask Maker Consensus, this is one of the biggest companies in the Ethereum crypto space, selects JPMorgan and Goldman Sachs as lead underwriters for its IPO, per Axios. So Consensus is about to IPO with JPMorgan and Goldman Sachs. Interesting. After years, almost decades of CEO Jamie Dimon poo-pooing crypto, now JPMorgan is going all in, and Jamie Dimon says crypto is real, fully admitting he's wrong about Bitcoin and crypto. Full crypto bull right here. Interesting.
skeptical of crypto at one point. He was still
I've
skeptical.
gotten away with no damage so far. Crypto is real. If you mean blockchain, stable coins, you have a JPMorgan deposit coin, you can move stuff, smart contracts are real, all that stuff is real. It will be used by all of us to facilitate, better transactions and
All right.
customer
And if
service.
anybody
So, crypto falling today, 116,000 to 106,000. This is pure manipulation by the very people adopting these assets. Michael Saylor just said the quiet part out loud, revealing the truth about what's really going on behind the scenes. He says this: the industry is going to 10x. It's going to increase by a factor of 10 based upon activities that are taking place at JPMorgan, at Wells Fargo, at Bank of America, at Morgan Stanley, at BNY Mellon. It's the big household brands at Citi. They're the ones that are going to introduce Bitcoin and digital assets to the next billion people. So this is just the beginning of what he reveals in this clip. Listen.
The industry is going to 10x. It's going to increase by a factor of 10 based upon activities that are taking place at JPMorgan, at Wells Fargo, at Bank of America, at Morgan Stanley, at BNY Mellon. It's the big household brands at Citi, right? They're the ones that are going to introduce Bitcoin and digital assets to the next billion people.
And JPMorgan is now willing to accept Bitcoin as collateral. At least they said that they intended to do that. Talk to me about that component where you're seeing Wall Street banks lean into Bitcoin as collateral. What is that?
Yeah, I think the most exciting thing is 12 months ago, you couldn't get a loan against Bitcoin or a loan against wrapped Bitcoin like an ETF like IBIT. You couldn't get those loans from any major bank in the nation. And now what you see is that Bank of America, JPMorgan, Wells Fargo, BNY Mellon are all beginning to embrace this asset class. You see other innovative banks, Charles Schwab, Texas Capital, they're offering pretty progressive credit terms against either IBIT, and now even many of those banks are starting to talk about offering credit against underlying Bitcoin. I think in 2026, we'll start to see some of these major banks like Citi custody Bitcoin, BNY Mellon start to custody Bitcoin, and companies like JPMorgan start to issue credit against it.
And that makes sense, right? Retail, regular people like you and me had 14, 15 years to get into this asset class, and many people following Altcoin Daily did. But Wall Street, via the ETFs, via the public companies, they really only started really accumulating and getting involved right here. This is where Wall Street entered the game, and look what's happening to the price. If the world's biggest Bitcoin buyer isn't nervous about all this, why are you? Michael Saylor's newest, most recent interview on his Bitcoin price predictions. Where will Bitcoin be in 2 months, in 4 to 8 years, in 20 years? This is what Bitcoin's biggest buyer is predicting.
I don't know why it won't grind up to $1 million a coin over the next 4 to 8 years. Well, I think Bitcoin's going to continue to grind up. I think the volatility is coming off of it as the industry becomes more structured with more derivatives and more ways to hedge it. Our expectation right now is end of the year, it should be about $150,000. And that's the consensus of the equity analysts that cover our company and the Bitcoin industry right now. I don't know why it won't grind up to $1 million a coin over the next 4 to 8 years. I would think not less than 4, not more than 8. And of course, my long-term forecast is it goes up about 30% a year for the next 20 years, and we're headed toward $20 million Bitcoin.
So, what comes next for Bitcoin and crypto? Look no further than the 50-week moving average. It is not uncommon for Bitcoin to retest the 50-week moving average multiple times during a dip. This has been consistent for Bitcoin the entire bull market. Now, right now, the 50-week moving average sits around 103. So it's very likely Bitcoin falls to 103, even wicks to 100K or 99K. If it stays below the 50-week moving average for a month, that's very negative. But if we just see it for a week and bounces back up, that's very positive, and we've seen that countless times. You know, usually when you want to buy something and price dips, that's a good thing. You're getting the same asset for cheaper. And I think there's a lot of reason to be bullish. We show you this kind of stuff all the time. My name is Aaron at Altcoin Daily. Subscribe to the channel, join our team. We'll see you tomorrow.